everybody, Karis here, and I am on my last full day in Sedona. The mountains are beautiful, the sun is shining, it's not too cold, and tomorrow morning, so tonight, if you do it like that, is the new moon. And it will be on March the 30th, 2014. And as I've been wondering what to do this video about for you guys, I wasn't quite sure what the new moon project was. I didn't know what to tell you to do. I did know that I was going to tell you about the water blessing for my newsletter peeps, so this video will go out with my newsletter, and also you guys will get a link, those of you just watching this on YouTube or Facebook, to sign up for the newsletter to get the Starlight Beauty Health Water charging thing. Anyway, so a quote kept running through my mind this morning, and it's not a quote that I have heard anyone else say. It was just kind of one of those things. And first I thought, should I post it on Twitter? Should I Instagram it? What do I need to do in order to get this out? Because I could tell it wanted to come through because it just kept cycling through my mind. And then I realized, oh, that's the new moon focus. So, because the moon cycle that we're in is going to be so intense, and because we're working up to the full moon on April 14th, the moon eclipse, and the grand cross and the grand square, the return of the goddess, Venus is exalted, and so is, I believe, Mercury, and Mars is in Libra, so fighting, you hear all these sounds going on, fighting is not going to be able to happen. It's going to be a big day of receiving, and like I said, astrologically, people have called it the return of the goddess. So it makes sense that the dark moon leading up to the full moon is going to be one which is all about reclaiming our own projections and triggers. Because when we talk about having our power as divine feminine people, both males and females, we all have divine feminine within us. The hammering, I love it. Anyway, so when we talk about reclaiming our projections and also reclaiming our power, oftentimes what happens is we're afraid that we'll lose people if we come into our power, because when you come into your power you trigger people, and this is true. A group of friends and I went to a nearby town a few days ago, and we triggered everyone just by being there. We weren't even doing anything, and everyone was getting all upset. They were glitching out, dropping things and forgetting things, and their minds not working, and it's because when you're a conductor of more electricity, people around have their electricity flow as well, and so any blocks they have are going to come up to the surface. And like I said, sometimes it does happen. I also just had an experience very recently where I realized that I had lost a friend from claiming my power. I mean, we walk around and we become living triggers sometimes, and I realized I hadn't done anything wrong. Nothing happened. This friend just stopped being my friend because I was owning my power, and so they couldn't be around me anymore. And it really hurt my heart at first. I definitely had to work on that. I had to work with pain and anger and sadness. But then I finally sat down with it and I said, well, if I have to be friends with someone by minimizing my own strength and my own power, this isn't being bitchy, it's not even saying anything, it's just standing in your own strength and power as a divine being incarnate in human form, which we all are. If I can't do that in this relationship, this friendship, is it worth it? And the answer was no. Hell no. Heaven and hell no. It's not. And so I said, fine, shed the friendship. That's okay. Blessings on your path, and I'm moving on. And sometimes that might happen, but honestly, it doesn't happen very often. Usually people love it when we're in our power. However, whether or not they love it or not, the first step, and the scariest one, is just stepping into our power to begin with. And not being afraid to trigger people. I mean, this thing alone, buying this thing and wearing it, has been a huge power up for me, and I was afraid of it triggering people. I had to think about it for a long time and say, is it okay for me to wear a serpent on my arm? Are people going to think that I'm bad or something? And then I had to realize, well, Karis, if you want to get the damn serpent and wear it. Like, it's a symbol of strength and holiness as well. Let's not get stuck in certain paradigms where they're more than just the ones that we're more familiar with, So here's the affirmation. It is, other people's triggers are not now, have never been, and will never be my responsibility. Nor is it my responsibility to tiptoe around other people's triggers. Okay. My triggers are not now, have never been, and will never be other people's responsibility. nor is it their responsibility to tiptoe around my triggers. That's it. And then we'll see what happens when we get triggered, when we get an email that sets us off, or when someone says something that bothers us. I've triggered people by wearing this dress. This dress triggers people. You guys, it just happens. And I've gotten triggered by someone saying lots of different things and then saying, well, am I going to then go on the attack? Am I going to say, well, you're bad because you triggered me and now I have to be mad at you? Or is it, which is the war, this war that's been going on forever that we're finally trying to get out of and onto the dance floor instead and saying, ooh, that was trigger. Okay, what is it in me that's blocked? What am I needing to see and shift? And I think that since we are in the dark of the moon, and now is the time of getting rid of things and also of setting our intentions for what's going to happen as this moon energy comes back in and culminates in this amazing magical full moon, now's the time to talk about our triggers, both those of us who are afraid of triggering others and those of us who are dealing with our own triggers, and we're all both. So good luck with that. Sorry for the ramble. There is definitely a lot of energy going on right now, and I'm susceptible to it just like anybody, The difference I've found in spiritual teachers, whether or not they're having things go well, is whether they're actually practicing what they preach or walking their talk or whatever you want to say, whether or not they're doing what they're telling other people to do. And I know that I have been triggering a lot more people lately as I've talked about shadow integration and as I've been doing shadow integration and publicly showing what happens when you do shadow integration. And so I've had to say, well, you're triggered. That's cool. You don't have to believe what I say. This goes for all you guys watching it. You can disagree with me all day long. Great. That's okay. I'm not trying to convert anybody here. So after doing that and after not getting mad, I've had a few people come back and be like, whoa, you are serious. You're not going to go all crazy like some spiritual teachers do. And this is always my response. That's because spiritual teachers who don't practice what they preach go mad. And I'm not interested in the cray-cray. So I'm going to reclaim my own triggers so that as we're channeling more energy through, this goes for all of you guys too, as we're channeling more energy through, your blocks get bigger and stronger. And so if you don't look at your own projections and your own issues, then yeah, you go mad. Just the way it is. People do it all the time. And I don't necessarily mean stark raving crazy running down the street naked. I mean being miserable for this incarnation. Who wants to do that? Let's not. Let's reclaim our own projections. Let's not take responsibility for others, not lock ourselves up in these tiny little boxes in order to keep ourselves safe from the projections of others that have nothing to do with us. Doesn't really make sense when you think about it like that anyway, right? So that's what I've got for you today. Happy new moon. May it be amazing and wonderful. I'm starting a new book in my monthly magic book club tomorrow, which I'll be posting about tomorrow. And also tomorrow I'm driving to New Orleans for the next leg of this amazing trip. Here, I'll give you guys a view of the mountain that I can see. It's barely a little bit over there, but just past there is Bell Rock. So hopefully you can see that. Anyway, go in peace. Have a beautiful new moon. May you heal in grace and activate in joy. Much love, and I will see you on the astrals.